All right, let's talk LSU Tigers. Got some great LSU news for you guys. Of course, momentum is building on the recruiting side. Brian Kelly gets another big win. I'm Nick, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, talking LSU Tigers and Brian Kelly, they've had a heck of an offseason with massive victory after massive victory in the recruiting game. It looked like they had maybe lost out on a guy. We had reported that another program was going to swoop in and take one of their top prospects. We were 100% wrong. Kelly and company pulled it off. Let's get into the report, and we'll talk about it more in detail. On the other side, this is via X, a post from the great Hayes Fawcett. Highly recommend him. He said, breaking elite 2025 wide receiver Drik Meadows has committed to LSU. He tells me for On3 Recruits. The 6'6", 205-pound wide receiver from Las Vegas, Nevada, chose the Tigers over Alabama, Notre Dame, and Georgia. Meadows said, to be the best, you must outwork the rest, and LSU was the place to do it. All right, so I'm going to come out and say it. We were 100% wrong based on the reporting we saw earlier this week. It looked like LSU was going to lose Meadows, and a program like Notre Dame was going to go in and swoop him up. That reporting that we cited was clearly incorrect. It looks like LSU and Brian Kelly are not losing a step here. They are just as good, if not even better than ever in the recruiting game. Miles, I'm curious what your thoughts are on this. But first, LSU fans in the comment section below. Obviously, great wide receiver addition here, but I'm going to make you pick one wide receiver in LSU Tigers history that is your favorite of all time. There's literally like 5,000 of them you could potentially pick, but only pick one. Give us your favorite LSU Tigers wide receiver of all time and put them in the comment section below. But Miles, all right, I want your thoughts on this and the fact what was the reporting like? How was this so wrong, and how did LSU make this kind of move here?
Yeah, Nick. And no, first of all, I think this is even more impressive than the potential of what Notre Dame would have accomplished if they were able to get Meadows. We saw the back and forth, we saw the flips, the flops, we saw everything that was around Meadows and where he was going to be. And for LSU to come out at the last minute, I'm talking about a day before the commitment was going to be made, and get a guy like Meadows to come back, commit to LSU. I think this is big. And your comment, your question for the audience is the key here. There are so many great wide receivers at LSU. So many great wide receivers come from LSU. I think it would have been easy for a guy like Meadows to be like, oh, I'd be like number one star at Notre Dame. I'd be the best guy to walk through the door in probably like 10 years. I think that, I really could be the guy. But to be the guy, sometimes you have to beat the guy. And LSU is where all the other guys are at. So I think it was a smart move by Meadows to come over to LSU. I think that's inevitably the message that broke through from the comments that he said. He said to be the best guy to outwork the rest, and LSU was the place to do it. I think that speaks volumes about what this kid wants to do. He wants to come in, he wants to work hard against top competition, and he doesn't want anything to be handed to him. He wants to outwork everybody else. So for Brian Kelly to be able to preach that message, preach what LSU has going on there, we have always talked about how much we love what Brian Kelly has been doing down at LSU, whether it came to NIL or how he was building his teams lately. I think he is really smart there. I just am really impressed with Meadows coming here because there's a lot of factors that could take him, because Notre Dame is another top program. But for him to come to LSU, want to work with the other top talent and try to earn his spot rather than be given, I think speaks volumes about the kind of player LSU's getting.
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said there. And look, when this news broke, I actually dug back and looked through the original reporting from earlier last week and like, okay, what went wrong? Why did everyone assume LSU was off the table and Notre Dame was the heavy favorite to pick up Meadows? And you read through it, and the reporting seems solid. Everyone seems to have good source, right? It doesn't seem like it was something that was made up. I think there was actually probably a period of time where Meadows was potentially leaning towards Notre Dame there at the end. Like he had kind of, I don't want to say flipped, but was like about to flip potentially. And that's when I think Brian Kelly and his staff, I don't know this for certain, I'm just guessing here, put on a little final full court press, a final sales pitch, and won this kid over. And again, I think that's the beauty of Brian Kelly, and I think that's the beauty of his recruiting department. He has shown in just a short time at LSU, and he did this at Notre Dame, the ability to just win players in the recruiting game just with an unbelievable sales pitch that when you hear him talk publicly, you don't really get the vibe that he's some sort of elite recruiter salesman, right? Some other coaches, right, have just a sort of energy that kind of makes you feel like they're really good at recruiting, like they just have a certain recruiting vibe to them. Kelly doesn't really have that, but it seems to work, right? Whether it's him or his staff or a combination of both, they just do a phenomenal job closing the deal. And that's what really matters in a recruiting game. When it comes right down to it, you've got to get these kids to sign on the line that is dotted. Securing this commitment from Meadows is the first step to reaching towards that goal. And look, credit to LSU, right? It looked like they maybe lost a 5-star elite prospect. Didn't happen. They pulled it off. They got the work done. They got the commit. Great job by Brian Kelly and company.